Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, May 21st, 2018, and ask our city recorder to please call roll. Councilor Ryan?
Here.
Councilor Freeman?
Here.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Mayor Clark? Here. Council President Parsons?
Oh, here. Sorry.
Councilor Herrera?
Yeah, I'm here too.
Councilor Anderson?
Here.
And with us tonight is our youth counselor,
Hello.
Hernandez. So you are here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, I would like to start with a special recognition, and that is of our youth counselor. We didn't get a chance to say a proper thank you and goodbye before he headed off to a lot of the things that he needs to wrap up for his senior year. So, Sam, if you want to have a seat at the table, we'd love to hear how senior year is finishing up and allow us then to say a few words and then make a small presentation.
Is it on?
Yes,
Hello.
it is.
Well, in short, I've accomplished all of my life goals up to this point in my life. It's a good feeling. I'm going to be graduating from McNary High School as valedictorian. I plan on giving a graduation speech. I've gotten into a fabulous college. I'm going to Pomona College next year,
Congratulations.
debt-free. That's the exciting part.
Oh, your parents love that.
Awesome.
No loans, so that's exciting. The reason I haven't been able to go to many meetings this year after the first semester is because I had a wonderful opportunity to take a class at Willamette University. It was a writing class, so that will be able to transfer into my credits as I go on, so maybe knock out a prereq, so that was a wonderful opportunity. I also recently graduated from the Willamette Academy program, and I also gave a graduation speech there. I don't know, there's just a lot happening. I led our FBLA chapter to state, and we had, I think, 7 national placers and about 14 state placers.
Congratulations.
So,
Wow.
yeah. And I also made varsity for cross country this year.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so sleep figured in where?
Somewhere. Yeah.
It ought to be young.
Yeah.
Well, we're very, very proud of you. We are very pleased that you chose to spend part of your senior year with us as a youth counselor. So can you share something that, one of your takeaways from this experience?
One of my takeaways from this experience was being able to apply what I was learning in my social studies and law and government classes. I think one of my more interesting moments was when in class we were talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act, and that night we went to talk about accessibility in our buildings and how we're going to have to implement that to receive federal funding. And I think that was one of those clicking moments where, you know, what we're reading in our textbooks actually happens in real life, and being able to feel like a more politically efficacious person, be able to think that you can, or have the ability to enact change in your communities. I think that's what this position allowed me to do and kind of realize in myself. I plan to study international relations at Pomona College and go on to law school and practice law. My biggest goal is to be a United States Senator someday, so can't do that till I'm 35, so I have to find something to do in the meantime.
You got a couple of years. Yeah. Well, you have worked hard, you've accomplished a great deal, and I am very, very pleased to know that you've been able to take something forward from your experience with us. So I'd like to give all of our counselors a chance to make a comment, and then I will make this presentation. Councilor Anderson, I will go ahead and start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, congratulations, Sam. That's awesome, and really enjoyed working with you this past year. I wish you all the best, and after you're done getting your degrees, please come back, because we need good people to serve here, not only in Keizer, but in Oregon. So I look forward to voting for you someday.
Thank you.
I also would like to, he said everything I was going to say. But I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure having you around, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck, Sam. You've got a lot going for you, and it was a great having you on the council. Thank you very much, and best of you.
Council President Parsons.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, you're an amazing young man, and you're an example to a lot of other people out there. And I think a lot of seniors, you're just well above your years, I think, as far as seniors go. But you set your goals and you attain them, and that's what's most important. And you'll continue to attain them, I'm sure. So yeah, I look forward to voting for you someday too.
Councilor Reed.
My turn. Well, I've known Sam since sophomore year. He was in my public speaking class, and he was a standout then, and just continues to just really take full advantage of all your opportunities. You were in FBLA, you were in cross country, you were in a variety of things, and for you, it wasn't just about jumping through hoops or padding your resume. It was about building new skills and trying new things and exploring new talents. And I've always really been impressed with that, and I've been impressed with you stand out among your peers, but in a way that brings them up, and I've always really been impressed with that. So I really wish you the best of luck, and I do hope you keep in touch.
Councilor Freeman.
Sam, well, how do you keep following that? But congratulations. I think probably the neatest thing is just having you here half the year, a little more maybe than half the year until you had to take your class at Willamette. So it's kind of that empty seat, but I appreciate you bringing the student perspective and sharing all the activities at McNary. Thank you to Councilor Reed for finding a great fit for us, so best of luck. Thank you.
Councilor Ryan.
How long do I have? I'm kidding. I want to say also congratulations. As a mother of a law student, I will pray for you. Keep setting goals, because that's where you're going to continue to thrive and achieve. But remember to have fun along the way, because you're not going to have this experience again. Okay? All right. Congratulations.
City Manager.
Well, it's easy for folks my age to say, man, those kids, and be nervous about the future of the country until I look at you and realize that our country will be in good hands. And I appreciate the hard work you're putting into it. I'd say good luck, but I don't think you need luck. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And succeed.
Well, Sam, it has been truly an honor, and what we have is a certificate of appreciation presented to Samuel Hernandez with sincere gratitude and appreciation for your dedication and contributions to the Keizer community during your term as Keizer Youth City Councilor, September 2017 to June 2018. Congratulations. Good luck. Sam Hernandez.
Thank you.
So would you want to introduce Crystal? Okay. Councilor Herrera?
Yes, we also have with us tonight Crystal Llanos, one of our recipients of the Latino reception. And I would like to invite you up here to tell us a little bit about Crystal, about yourself. And her story was, on her application, her story was especially, it really got me because she's very positive, and her accomplishments have been, she's met every challenge, and she's on her way to Stanford University now, which is, we're all real proud of her, and we watched her succeed. And thank you, Laura, for bringing her. I didn't realize we were both in the same Councilor Reed, but I just want you to tell the council a little bit about yourself and your plans, Crystal.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, as Roland Harris said, my name is Crystal. I'm a senior at McNary High School. I will be graduating pretty soon also as valedictorian. I have been accepted to Stanford University, where I plan on attending in the upcoming fall, and I want to study biomedical engineering and hopefully open up a healthcare organization that provides more economical healthcare technology to people of underrepresented minorities. So that's just the little, bio about me, I mean, besides that, I'm the second oldest in my family of 4 siblings. Well, 4 of us total, 3 other siblings, and then I have my mom and my dad, and they've been very supportive of me thus far. They think education is very important, so I have a lot to thank. I thank them a lot for everything that they've done for me. This year has been a roller coaster. It's been very difficult. A lot of the things that I've been doing and a lot of the goals that I've set for myself, I've had to achieve on my own. My parents have been supportive, but since they are of the Hispanic, they're very traditional, and they just don't know a lot about college or high school or taking AP classes or any of that. So it's been very hard to be on this journey on my own, but I'm very happy to say that I did it. I did everything. And, just with them, at least their moral support, it was enough. And I haven't said this year, but I am honestly proud of myself for getting through it. And I hope to inspire other individuals, other students younger than me who maybe feel like they can't get to where they want to be or attain their goals. And I want to be that inspiration for them and demonstrate that I didn't think I would get here right now, but I definitely worked hard to be here, and I did it. So I hope they do that as well and set every single goal and dream high and just work hard for it, because it's worth it in the end. It really is.
Well, that's pretty much, as you can see, that's pretty much why she caught our attention. The thing that she said a lot about healthcare really really got to me, and I wish you the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything to say to the young lady here? Thank you very much, Crystal, and we wish you the best. Go ahead, Catherine.
Absolutely do. And I really appreciate what you said about reaching to encourage others to do the same thing. I think you and Sam have done that, and you recognize one of the key elements of leadership is reaching to help others achieve as well. And that is something that you cannot I cannot overstate. It is absolutely critical that we continue to bring people along with us so that we can succeed together. And all the best at Stanford. I think it's going to be a fabulous career for you. And you've rocked it here. You're going to rock it there, too. Councilor Anderson.
Sorry, just had to chime in here one more, Madam Mayor. Crystal, it was great meeting you at after the scholarship reception that Councilor Herrera and others put together. I had to share with you, though, because, I mean, the field of study that she's going into, biomedical engineering, was pretty stinking impressive to me personally, because there's no way I'd be able to do anything in science. That's why I went into liberal arts. I have to tell you that we just hosted our Rotary District 5100 conference, and when we had the chance to sit down with some of the kids, our exchange students, I was sitting next to one of our inbound exchange students from Belgium, and he's going to be returning here like in a few weeks. And he mentioned that, I'm thinking about going into biomedical engineering. I said, oh, well, that's great, because there's this other person, awesome person I just met, and that would be a great choice for you. So you're inspiring people all beyond the boundaries of this country. So keep up the good work.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing about your success, and we're glad that we could be maybe a small part of encouraging you toward your goals.
Absolutely.
And we're very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Chris, you are right. It's when you meet young adults like Sam and Crystal that we know that our future is going to be very bright. Well done. So let's get back to the work at hand, because we're also rocking it here. And I have 2 committee reports tonight, so let's go ahead and start with the Parks Board. And Dylan Duran, what's happening in our parks? And you only have like 5 minutes. I know you could talk probably all night about all the good stuff.
Actually, I'm going to take way less than that.
All right.
So,
Just teasing.
yeah, we didn't really talk about a lot. We looked at some changes to some upcoming parks rules stuff. The biggest topics of discussion were drones and regulating unmanned aerial systems. So, drones that people are using in the parks these days. But there's some questions over whether we can regulate that or if it's superseded by the FAA. So I believe that Mr. Johnson over here will be looking into some of that and bringing us back so a little bit more clarity on that in our next board meeting. And then we will further our conversations on that and then bring that to you next time. So that's kind of really the gist of it.
All right. And that is a very hot topic nationally. I know there's been some conversations at other jurisdictions throughout the state as they all try to understand the technology, which is evolving daily. So I'm glad that you all are going to be able to at least get a handle on where it is at the moment, but that's not going to stay put.
Yeah, that was kind of the main point of contention was how do you regulate something that changes every day? Because then you can't write rules every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of tried that. We tried to get ahead of the curve with the marijuana laws and so forth. And how many times have we had to amend them? I'm sure we're not. So, but thank you for your work on that. And so did you get any updates on where we are with the parks maintenance? I know that everybody's been very, very busy.
We did, yeah. Robert gave us a couple of updates on it, and they've got, I think, 4 full-time employees now, and they are just really hitting the beat on maintaining our parks. It seems like they're out there mowing things every other day for most parks, which is fantastic. I've noticed it personally, which is great. We're about to get started on the Meadows Park construction for a new playground. They've done a couple of trees, I believe, so it seems to be going good. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing more in the parks this summer. And are there any questions for Mr. Duran? All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And next up, we have Mr. Matt Lawyer to talk about the Planning Commission.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councilors, staff. Matt Lawyer for the record, Keizer Planning Commission. We met on May 9th, which was our first meeting since March. We took April off in order to attend the River Road revitalization meeting, which was interesting to see that sort of start to take place. And one of the key takeaways from that was Shane went back and worked with staff and got the survey and all the information they were looking at from just the meeting and put it online. So they've had an increase from the original, I think, 25 to 27 responses up over, I believe it now, as of the meeting, was over 120 responses. So really good information there. Key topic of conversation that evening was related to what is currently titled the Historical Landmark Overlay Zone and being recommended to change to the Historical Resources. Couple major decision points were related to the who can initiate the process to designate a historical resource in Keizer. It's now the homeowner, the city council, or the planning commission may initiate the process. The other key component was eliminating some language that was kind of tied back to sort of the way that real estate went through newspapers, and so we recommended to eliminate some language that was more or less redundant now in the way real estate transactions happen. Thirdly was changing some language to ensure homeowners' rights are protected, or excuse me, property owner or homeowners' rights are protected both through the initiation of the designation of a historical resource in Keizer, but also through the process of what do we call it? Delisting or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact language, but deregistration, I believe, is what it was. So part of the conversation was essentially that, you know, if a home is designated in Keizer as or home or property is designated in Keizer as a historical resource, the homeowner would also have the opportunity to say, no, we don't want to have this taken away as a historical resource. And so we thought that was really important to protect the property owner's rights, since land ownership is a pretty sacred thing to most people. And I believe that was it. The specific motion was made by Commissioner de Blasi and seconded by myself to accept amendments to Section 2.127 Historic Resources section of the code with any amendment that needs to be added to honor private citizens' rights. Passed unanimously. Other than that, nothing major. We'll be meeting in June and continuing on our normal route of business.
All right. So that recommendation will come to council at a future meeting? Am I correct on that? Okay. So are there any questions on the Planning Commission? All right, see none. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for the work that you and the commissioners do on our behalf.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We have one more that I would like to go ahead and call up. City Manager.
Mr. Lawyer, if you would chat with us about the orchard.
The other Mr. Lawyer.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. This one, and possibly that one, and maybe Mr. Collier, if you wouldn't mind coming, having a seat also as the volunteer in charge of parts of this, so.
In charge but not responsible.
Right. Never responsible. That's right.
Thank you, Chris. We've been working with a local farmer trying to come up with an agreement to farm about 22 acres at Keizer Rapids Park, the former Filbert Orchard, so we can have the property maintained for us. The farmer can realize some kind of a income or at least break even with the crop, but also then maintain the property for us. Part of that, when we started into this, let me back up a minute. We had the trees removed by Mr. Collier and his gang of volunteers. Went out there and did a great job taking down 20 acres of trees, piling them up, and the plan has been to burn those piles. So in order to burn the piles, we have to continue the agricultural use of the property, okay? We've been working with a local farmer to come up with an agreement. Today, actually, I finally got a tentative agreement verbally from them. They have some tweaks that they're working on in the actual document, but they committed to doing the farming of the property, and so we'd like to move forward with getting the piles burned. The burning window for this season ends June 15th. If we don't get them burned by June 15th, you can't burn again until the fall. Planting time for the fescue that the farmer would want to plant on the property is late August, early September. And so at this point, with the agreement and with the council's approval, we want to move forward with having the piles burned. Mr. Collier has indicated that he thinks his group can maybe do it as soon as Wednesday. We'll send out an email to the neighborhood association and folks that have been interested in this. So that's kind of what we'd like to do to move forward to keep this happening the way we have envisioned it over a few years now since we lost the orchard lease. So, any questions?
All right, are any questions on the plan here?
That's a great plan.
All right, City Attorney, do we need to suspend the rules to make a motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I was going to mention that if you want to first have a motion to suspend the rules with a second and pass that, then after that, the motion would be to authorize staff to move forward with the burning of the trees.
All right, Council President Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that we suspend the rules
So we can take up this
so
matter?
we can take up this matter, yes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules so we can take the matter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I move that we authorize staff to proceed with the
Burning of the
trees
debris.
in the orchard.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council direct staff to proceed with the process to burn the trees in the old Filbert Orchard at Keizer Rapids Park. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Go for it, Collier.
That was easy.
Hot, fast, done.
Burn, baby,
Safe.
burn.
Thank you, and thank
And
you
who
for-
says government's not efficient?
That's right.
That's right.
Most people.
Will you have hot dogs this time?
Yeah.
Marshmallows, there we go.
A gigantic 50
Burn it.
Yeah, this is not something that, can we talk a little bit about what folks in the area need to know as far as distance and any other safety concerns? We don't want people down there in the middle of all this, just saying. And who's going to be conducting the operation? Is it the Keizer Fire District?
Mr. Collier will be sort of captaining the effort, and Keizer Fire District will also be there and involved in supervising. Yes?
Okay.
Is that correct? Not quite correct.
Oh, wait, not quite.
Close, but.
Twitching.
Almost one.
Well, and it's important, and
Mark Hillier,
Eric is
City
from the Keizer Times, we really need to get the word out for safety. Are you feeling the love?
Okay.
All right.
Eric, just sit there and type.
As an agricultural burn, we have some regulations we have to follow. Agricultural burns are actually allowed through the Department of Agriculture, not DEQ, but the Department of Agriculture works with DEQ and also the fire marshal, so on and so forth. So we have been in contact with the fire marshal's office. We've also been in contact as late as last Thursday with the Keizer Fire District's fire marshal. They're all aware what's going on. I'll be in contact with them tomorrow. I called the ag burn line today, and it said we could start at 10 o'clock, darn it, because I wanted to start at 7. So I'm thinking Wednesday's about the same thing, but they can stop because of the unseasonably high temperatures. They could really stop at any time. If you haven't been out there the last few days, you'll probably notice that all the piles, which are very high, and they were done that way for a purpose, have all been plowed around. The ground's all been turned up out where the orchard used to be for a couple reasons. One, to pull the sticks up, because I want to encourage every person in Keizer to go out and pick up 52 sticks. And if everybody does that, it's 2 million sticks, and then the farmer will be very happy. And so, but it also keeps us from burning that grass field that is out there. So we're all set to go. Keizer Fire will not have a rig out there. They'll be on standby. They know that we're doing it. We will have we have a 300-gallon pump outfit that we'll be able to have on standby on the scene if we need to. Everything goes the way we've done in the past. It should be very quick. Those piles, although big, will burn very quickly and very hot. This isn't your burn barrel in your backyard or your little backyard burn. This will go very fast, very quickly, and hopefully very straight up. This morning when I was out there, the winds were from the northeast to the southwest. It was perfect. Would have been a perfect day to burn. All the smoke, if there was any initial smoke, it all went to Polk County.
This is payback for last fall.
Yeah, people shooting
And
up
not
the
to the
tank.
and not to the west, to the neighbors. So our goal is hopefully have same kind of days, and we'll get them going. We don't use any. I've had lots of questions while we're sitting out in the tractor out there. People have asked. No, we don't use any accelerants. We have a 500,000 BTU fire starter wand. It's powered by propane. That's how we start them. We'll start as many as we can in the first hour, and hopefully 6 hours later, they'll all be gone. And so we don't know how many we're going to get done in the first day or two or whatever. We'll know more after the first day. We're going to start at the northwest, depending on the wind, but start at the northwest corner and work our way to the southeast corner.
Okay.
That's our plan. But if the wind is favorable to keep it out of the neighborhoods, we'll start on the east side and work our way west.
All right. Thank you. I really appreciate the update. I want to make sure we all heard it directly so that we can be helpful in getting accurate and safe information out there to folks in the community. I know that Eric will do his part, and we'll all do the best to make sure that people understand what's happening and keep safe.
Yeah, there'll be tended fires. We'll have a backhoe out there to feed the fire. You don't start the fire upwind. You start the fire downwind and feed it not upwind, and watch it go, oh my God. So, there you go. All righty.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, Counselor Freeman?
So I just, not necessarily for you, Mark, but you're more than willing to stay. So I know that we'll send information to West Keizer, so to Carol and Rhonda. And because those neighbors live on the park, I know a lot of them are very, very concerned, and the neighbors. So if we burn Wednesday, is that really enough time to let them know? And I'm not trying to delay it by any means. I just want to be sure that we've given adequate notice to the neighbors so Rhonda, Carol, and the group can get it out to all the other neighbors. And will we post something on Facebook? Will Keizer Times have something on theirs? I'm just,
Yeah.
and next door?
We do
Okay.
next door, and then we also have a list of folks who have asked to be specifically notified, and we will notify them
Okay,
in person. So.
thank you.
Awesome. All right, thank you very much. Let's go on then to public testimony. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for a public hearing. We have no public hearing scheduled for tonight, and I have no one signed up for public testimony, but the floor is open if somebody has an issue they'd like to discuss. Going once, twice, gone. All right, so let's go on then to administrative action. A request for allowance of additional concerts at Keizer Rotary Amphitheater. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney Johnson.
Thank you, Chris, Madam Mayor and Council. As you know, Clint Holland, through his KRA LLC organization, has been doing the free concert series for quite a few years now at the amphitheater. Our agreement with Clint is that the city would sponsor and allow free concerts for no less than 8 and no more than 12 concert theater movie series each year. Without additional council approval. In addition, no more than 8 of the dates may be on a Saturday. The submission to the city from Clint was asking for 2 dates over, and I want to make sure folks understand, he's asking for 2 dates more than the maximum, and then 2 Saturday dates, because they're both Saturdays, but it's not 4 events, it's just 2 additional events, if you will. So he's gone over 2 separate limits, the total number and the Saturday limit. So I attached that list that I think Allison prepared, and so you can see that with those extra Saturdays, he's taking up pretty much every Saturday through the summer. This has occurred before in the typical fashion. Council has approved that. If you want to stay consistent with that, the minute motion would be to allow the additional events to be added to the free concert series, requiring only the application fee and the deposits for the event, but you're free to handle the matter however you wish. One side issue, and it's not an issue for council, it's just that I want to make sure you're aware of it. I attached, just for information's sake, this item here. That was just recently revised a few hours ago. Nothing changes in terms of the dates and the times, but Clint is estimating much larger crowds for the concerts. Bill and I talked about this just a few hours ago, and we're going to be checking with Clint because he's estimating all the concerts, not the theater, but all the concerts to be 1,200 each. And we're both thinking that that's a little bit large. So we're going to be working with him on that. It really doesn't affect your choice at all because your choice is just to allow or not allow, or allow with conditions or whatever, the extra dates. But I want to make sure you were aware of that because we were just recently handed that change. So with that, the recommendation is if the council wishes to, staying consistent with previous requests from Clint on the extra dates, it would be to make a minute motion to allow the additional events and requiring only the application fee and deposits. That's at the end of that first page there under my recommendation, if the council so chooses. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So just so we all know, we have the spreadsheet in the packet, and that is not complete, is that correct?
Not complete?
Because there's only 8 concerts and then 3 nights for Keizer Homegrown. Those aren't his events, that's Keizer
No,
Homegrown's
no, it's
events.
part of the total. Our agreement with Clint, even though he's not directly involved, he does still do he still helps them out. He still helps Homegrown Theater out. So Homegrown Theater appears there under Clint's umbrella, if you will. So the total number, I added it up, but I don't add up again, is a total of 12 and includes each night. So I think if you added those up, it would be, what's it say? No less than 8, no more than 12, so I think there's 14.
Count 11.
Well, I count 8 bands, and then 3 nights of Keizer Homegrown. Am
That's
I
11.
missing
It's
something?
Not 3
Yeah.
nights of-
Are we missing, is there anything, there's nothing in June? This is the
Oh, I'm
actual-
sorry, I apologize. I see what you're looking at. You're out looking at the blanks. I got you. The blanks Clint plans on filling, that's why their dates are there.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I understand now what you're
Okay.
getting at. I apologize. So,
Okay.
yeah, we wouldn't put the dates in there unless there was a relevance. And so he has told us that he wants those dates. He doesn't have anybody assigned yet. And I'm double checking his handed in
Per night.
Okay.
list. It is the same so the date at the beginning, which is June 23rd, and then August 4 if you go down, and then August 25th.
Okay.
He still does not have anything for those dates. The only thing, like I say, that he changed was the attendance. So, but he does want those dates and is hopeful of getting an act for those dates, and so that's why he needs the approval now.
Okay, so just to be clear, that all the dates that are on the calendar, even if they don't have something in them, the extra 3 are the ones he's asking us to add on, because what we have on the calendar right now fits within our agreement. Is that correct?
Right.
So this would be for 3 more bands to be determined if he signs the contracts with them, and we already, 2 more. Well, we have 3 blanks. 2 additional. Okay, so, and the Keizer Festival and our KFAB
That's
had
what
a
I need to
meeting.
ask. Well, that's the question I was going to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Is because all the bands have already been approved. In order, if he adds 2 bands that are not on the pre-approval list from years previous, we would have to have an
A special
emergency
meeting,
meeting,
probably.
a special meeting,
I would invite
of
you to touch base with Clint about that.
Okay,
He needs
because
to
that
get
was
ahold of
my,
us.
that was my one question about that too. And my other question was, there's no other applications pending for those nights at all from other people?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Staff discussed this, and, going forward, you may want to revisit this issue for next year. We do get late requests sometimes for the amphitheater. I don't remember what the charge is. It's not huge, but I guess what I'm pointing out is there is a potential for some lost revenue if you give the extra, and that's why we've had the contract the way we've had it, is to leave a few dates open. So, I mean, it is what it is. You folks can decide. Like Chris and I discussed, the concert series is wildly popular, and we don't have anybody else asking now. Who knows if we would? And it's not a lot of revenue that we're going to lose.
Yeah.
It's not like renting the entire community room, for example, in terms of the cost.
Councilor Ryan? and then I'll come.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a point to, a question and a point to Marlene. I think some of those could be movies as well, which would need to be approved. Because remember, he's been talking about doing movies, and I don't see them on there, so maybe that's what the blank spaces are for, it's
Oh,
possible.
I think he wanted 2 additional bands, Amy, is what he's saying. So maybe 1 would be movie and then 2 would be bands is maybe. So.
And the question that I have is then camping overnight with bands. I don't know why that makes me
And I'm
nervous.
glad you raised that, because Bill and I just talked about that earlier today. You would not be, that's part of the purview of administration, and your motion, and the reason it's before you is only with regard to the contract, which is dates. What the contract also says is that any camping, and our regulations say, have to be approved by the director, who is Bill. So we have some concerns about the length of time that's being asked at the bottom of that sheet, and we'll be looking into that. And if you have questions on that, let us know. But that's not part of your charge for tonight. It's just the dates.
But that was part of my question, is that if we're looking at nights, like each concert is a night, then, I mean, if you're looking at camping nights, that adds additional.
Well,
Just
we
the
don't,
staff.
that we don't, for purposes of Clint's contract, we only count the actual event. We don't count the nights camping.
Okay.
We
And-
do have some concerns about the number of nights that are being requested, and Bill is going to look into that a little bit further.
Well, I know part of it is a set up and tear down for JFK.
Right,
Takes
and
a
that
lot
makes
for sure.
sense.
But so is that additional revenues to the city because everybody's going to pay to camp? I mean,
No.
No, this is not public, this is not public camping.
This is,
Well, it's
thank you,
whoever-
Madam
yeah.
Mayor. This is only for basically security on the site with the equipment. These are not, this is not a public camping kind of thing. So JF,
me
yeah,
feel
I
better.
apologize, Councilor
Yeah.
Ryan. I didn't know which direction you were going.
That makes me feel better, okay.
Yes, yes, this is not public camping. Thank
Not
you,
that it wouldn't
Madam
be
Mayor.
fun,
This is
but-
just for both the theater, they have equipment, both groups, JFK and Keizer Homegrown has
Yeah, okay.
equipment and supplies that they kind of want to guard, and so that's the reason for the camping. It's only for a few
Apologize for
people.
my confusion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tradition, yeah, okay.
And Bill
I'm gonna-
might-
If I,
actually,
if
Herrera
I
and
may,
then
Madam
Reed.
Mayor,
Yeah,
on the camping topic,
if we can
for the
finish that, I'll
last
come to
few
Herrera.
years, 3 or 4 years now, the Keizer Homegrown folks have camped there to protect their set on stage, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. Bands like JFK, Ty Curtis, bands that have a large stage setup, they've stayed Friday night to guard their setup. So this is not a new thing. This has been going on, not behind the scenes, but nothing that the council has had to take action on because as the director, I authorized that action. So just want you to know it's not anything new.
Councilor Herrera, and then Councilor Reed, and I'll come to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I kind of got part of my question answered, but in the original agreement, there's a maximum of 12 dates.
12 dates total and 8 Saturdays.
Okay.
So
Is
he's
there a
asked-
high demand for competition of other people that might want to use it?
No, not that I'm aware of. We do get requests, and I mean, so I don't know that any on the blank dates have been requested. Usually, if they're not guaranteed, they're allowed open. I think they would have told me if somebody had requested it. That's not to say that somebody could request it tomorrow, but we haven't had a request that I'm aware of.
Would you, should we consider revising the original?
Well, you may wish to, because Clint does ask for this each year.
Because I know
I
that-
mean, I guess the only other issue is whether or not you want to more market, look at the rates and market that and have it available for weddings or some sort of reception and stick to the original agreement. We can certainly look at doing that moving forward.
I was just wondering because, it sounds to me like this is going to be an ongoing,
Right.
knowing Clint, he's going to be doing this every year. So
Right.
I thought maybe we consider,
Right.
Unless there was a high demand for,
And that's certainly something I can talk to Clint about and see if he wants to request this as a permanent change, and we can bring that back to council for a new agreement.
thank you very much.
Right, City Manager.
So Shannon, you mentioned, or Shannon mentioned not wanting necessarily to lose income because of potential events that we want to schedule down there. But there was another reason that we wanted to keep a couple of dates open, and that was so that the general public would have access to the amenity and not have one group basically monopolize the amphitheater for every weekend for the entire summer, not because of revenues, but because
Yes,
it
thank you,
should be
Chris.
shared.
Right.
It should be available. That being said, if there isn't high demand, then that's something you may want to take into consideration. So I just wanted to bring that out. There was a rhyme and a reason behind that discussion. It had very little to do with revenues. It had more to do with keeping the amenity semi-open to the public for their use.
And of course, on the schedule, you can see that it's pretty much open most Fridays. There's only 2 or 3 Fridays that are used, and only the one Thursday for the homegrown theater. So, I mean, there's a fair amount of availability unless you're looking at just pure Saturdays, so.
I've got one question, and I haven't had a conversation with Clint about this, but at the end of the season, there's a scramble for funding, and I know we've allocated in our budget, I believe, $2,000 toward this concert series, and then he works very hard to find sponsors and concessions and so forth. So was there any indication of an expectation of additional revenues from the city to help cover some of the costs of the additional concerts?
No, I've heard nothing from Clint on that. I would. He won't come out.
Well-
From my perspective, I think it would be almost the reverse, because with the extra dates, there's that much more revenue. So I don't know that. I mean, I don't know how each one operates a loss. So, you can sell at a loss at volume. You don't make it up. But I don't know for certain about that. But no, Clint has not requested or raised that issue at all that I've heard out of all. So
Well, and I know the estimates for JFK last year, I think it was between 12 and 1,300 people. It was packed. I don't know, I think a lot of us were there. It was a very, very, very heavily attended concert. Some of these others are now starting to be big draws, and part of people's summer routine, they look for these and come down to the park and bring their friends. So having bodies in the park, people enjoying the park is a good thing, because when you get families coming in, they see the other amenities. It's all part of that exposure to the what we have going at Keizer Rapids Park. So there is that co-benefit as well of having the concerts down there. But I just want to make sure that it's really clear that we have not allocated additional funds for this program. And if we're going to have that conversation looking going forward, we've got to be very clear what the expectations are in terms of city resources to make that happen. It's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of wear and tear on the amphitheater, and people have an absolute ball going down there. So I think I just have to have a really good reality check on this before we go, yeah, let's do some more concerts. That's my one reservation about this, is that this is already a very heavy schedule for Clint and his small band of people to undertake. And I'm concerned that he's going to get overcommitted in his great enthusiasm. And I don't want to see the quality to suffer because of that, because this is really important to our community. So that's just my 2 cents worth. Council President Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And my one concern too, I mean, well, besides that, but my really biggest concern is the band approval thing. I mean, if he's going to bring in a couple of bands that have already been pre-approved, I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with, if he brings in new bands, because then we got to get the committee together, we got to do this approval thing, and we have to get it done. So I think that was just my concern, is this late notice, and I'm hoping that if we do decide to give him a couple of days, that he brings in bands that are already approved.
And I can express that to him if you wish, first thing.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments on this proposal? Council President Parsons, do you want to put a motion on the table and we can debate? Now, did we need to, so it's a make a minute motion in
Just a
connection with
minute.
Yeah,
the
it's a
request?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so I move that the Keizer City Council approve 2 additional Saturday concerts for the summer concert series.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve the 2 additional Saturday concerts to the city-sponsored concert series for this summer. Discussion.
I do have one thing, I'm sorry.
Council
So
President
I didn't know if
Parsons?
I needed to put it in the motion or not, but we want him to pay the same fee that he paid the other days, right? That's
Correct.
going to be, okay.
Okay.
And Councilor Ryan.
Councilor Ryan.
Just a quick question on security. Do our police just stop by there out of the kindness of their hearts? We don't pay for overtime for police? Okay, thank you.
We have, if I remember correctly, we have reserves.
And because there's alcohol involved, they're required to have their own security also.
I was the Officer Cummings there. He's been just fabulous in overseeing the security there. Really appreciate him. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, that will take us then to the consent calendar. Council President Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have, looks like, just one item on the consent calendar tonight, and that's approval of the May 7th, 2018 City Council regular session minutes.
Anybody want to pull it? Council President Parsons?
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to council liaison reports, and Councilor Anderson, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, you did
Oh, Jay, well, you know what?
Yeah, you did last time.
You're right, I did. So in all fairness, I'll go ahead and start with Councilor Ryan.
Although I don't mind, just saying it for the record.
Well, I do know you just got back from a vacation, so.
I wasn't going to announce that, but thanks.
You're welcome.
So, back from vacation. No. I actually have a couple things before I left. I attended the Mother's Day Fire Department breakfast, which is always amazing. That is our tradition, and I am so thankful that my kids don't have to cook. I'm going to say that with sincerity. Also, Keizer Art Association, I was gone. I had the opportunity to have vacation. It's the first one in years, so I appreciate Councilor Reed covering for me on the Keizer Art, and I'll look forward to her report on that. Also, I attended the Commissioners' Breakfast, which was, it's always a highlight to hear how everyone's doing and what's going on in as a region, so, and how we're connected to that. And then I think most of us attended the Iris Festival and the parade, and as usual, how much fun is the parade and all the little pumpkin heads. But it was really fun this year with Roland and I pushing each other off the back of the float because one of us was going to go, but I reserved myself there, and so no, we just had a great time, and I just appreciate all of the people who made that work because it takes so much effort, and I'm very thankful for that. So that's what I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Freeman.
And I would just echo with, we just came off Iris Festival, so thank you to everyone that attended, all the volunteers, and especially all the participants who were along the parade route, and everyone that came out. And kudos to Councilor Herrera, Pastor Dominguez, and the others for the Latino reception earlier this month, and we heard from Crystal tonight, but there are some amazing students out there, and it was great to see them recognized. It was awesome to talk to some of their parents who were beaming and so proud of their children. You worked on great sponsors and supporters, and I just want to give a shout out to, is it La Bonita Bakery?
Yeah.
Because Councilor President Parsons and I had to try one of everything, almost one of everything. And I'm tattling on both of us, but it was great, and I would just recommend if you needed to have cookies for an event, they were all very fabulous. Had the opportunity to attend the Fire District 70th anniversary, which was great for everyone. We had a stormwater meeting, planning, which Matt Lawyer already talked about. I attended, finally got it in my schedule, tardy, but I did it, my Judge Myers evaluation. Just a note, the West Keizer Neighborhood Association will not meet during the summer, so we're off until the fall, so do not plan on showing up on the second Thursday here. And then we still have several openings, and so I just want to give a shout out to the openings that we have, and the applications are due Wednesday, June 13th. So Keizer Points of Interest Committee, we have one vacancy. The Festival Advisory Board, there's one vacancy. Public Art Commission, it doesn't say if there's a vacancy. Debbie, is there still one? The Public Art Commission, it didn't say.
Those are all vacancies that the terms are expiring. Letters have gone to
Thank you.
people who
Okay.
are serving at the present time. Some of them will come back or will reapply.
Sure.
Others won't.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
always post those.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And then we have our Community Service and Housing Commission, and then a Youth Committee. As you heard from our youth counselor, Sam Hernandez, he had a great time as our youth counselor, and I know we have other youth counselors on some of our other committees, but we would love to have a youth represented on all of them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It seems that there were a lot of us in attendance at a lot of these functions, so I won't go into all of them. I did really appreciate the Latino Grad Night. That was a really important community event, and again, thank you so much for putting those together. We had a Keizer Heritage Board meeting and the Fire District anniversary. At the Arts Commission that I sat in for Amy, and I really appreciated getting kind of an insight onto that committee. It was very interesting. One of the things that we did was went over the RFP, which is Request for Proposal.
Very good.
Okay, so getting excited to figure these acronyms out. But anyway, Attorney Johnson had put together a request for proposals for the story polls out in front of the Civic Center, and we went over those pretty meticulously and talked about what exactly we would want from our artists, some brainstorming, some further We had a community meeting requesting input on what we wanted on those, and so the Arts Commission went through and kind of parsed that out and decided what we would actually be wanting to recommend. So that was a really interesting discussion, and a lot of really great dedicated people on that committee, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I attended the Keizer Community Band concert at McNary, and that was very good, really impressive. It's really fun to see those guys just really having a good time making music. I saw Much Ado About Nothing for the McNary Drama Department, and those kids were very, very proud of their production, and we're having a lot of fun, and that was a great opportunity. The Irish Parade, this morning, several of us were guest speakers for the AVID group at McNary, and again, just a really great opportunity to meet with those kids and inspire the next generation. As inspiring as they are to us, they need to be able to know what opportunities are available to them, and so that was a great time too. Coming up on the 29th, May 29th, is the Senior Awards at McNary, and that's at 7 p.m. And also the final band concert is on the 31st at 6 p.m. So lots of final things happening.
Wrapping it up. All right, thank you so much. Council President Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Everyone kind of went over everywhere that I had been. I mean, I went to the firehouse, that was very nice. The Irish Parade, this year we, instead of riding in cars, we decided to decorate part of a train float. And it was very nice. I think we're going to do that again. It was very nice. We decorated on Friday night, and then on Saturday morning, we all piled in, and just a little few glitches here and there, and we'll fix them for next year. But we had a good time going down the road, and I think everybody enjoyed our float too. I know the commissioners really liked it. Coming up, we have what is this? Oh, a personnel policy meeting. I also was a speaker this morning at McNary High School with Councilor Herrera, and it was the group, the AVID group, just amazing students that, you know, as we saw these two here, these students too are in to learn, but Roland had to ask them very hard questions. The only really person they knew anything about was you, because your name, Kathy, is easy. They just didn't know the last name, but they sure as heck didn't know who any rest of us were. So Roland gave them a test and to see if they could pass that test. So anyway, and I think coming up we have Memorial Day weekend, and then after that we'll get going in June. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Herrera?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Started off on the 10th of May with the Commissioner's Breakfast, which is always interesting. It's good to see Sam and all the guys. And then, of course, that night we had our event for the, and I want to thank the Latino Action Committee, which is I'm part of, Pastor Dominguez and the Gloria, Mr. and Mrs. Gloria. They took a lot of work. For 5 of us did all that stuff. And also I want to thank you folks for attending, those of you folks over there. And it was nice to see the interaction with the folks. Everybody want to take a picture with the mayor, and that's kind of cool. And of course, you all met Crystal. It was very touching to watch some of these young people be recognized. Also, on the 14th, we all went to the same things. So we all hang out in the same places, I guess. And that was very nice for the fire department. Looking at some of those pictures of Wally Mull when he was 29, it's amazing. Man, I tell you. And it just really, for years, Shorty Duncan was my neighbor, so I kind of knew a lot of the history. And of course, Dwayne Sanford, who's some of the old guys were just amazing stories. And some are pretty interesting, by the way. On the 17th, I went to the kickoff lunch where we received our sponsorship from the chamber. And then, of course, that night I went to dinner. And I really want to commend the chamber for the wonderful job they did in the Irish Festival this year. I always kind of take little mental sticky notes and kind of make little notes of what went well. And I've never seen that opening so packed. I mean, the place was packed. The lunch, I mean, there was people outside the tent, which I've never seen before. And of course, that food is always incredible. I mean, that's one thing, they always serve really great food. My compliments to all those folks. Okay, we also, the parade was a lot of fun. The commissioners after the parade were calling me Mr. Roland for some reason. Because a lot of kids call me Mr. Roland, so they gave me that new name. That was a lot of fun. I thought that was a good change of venue from sitting on top of a car, being really cool, to all being together. And next year, I think we should do it again. Well, let's have a theme where we can all like dance or something, you know.
There you go, put some music on there.
Yeah, and I got to ride
back this
Yeah, we got to ride back. I didn't have to walk, so that was kind of cool. Also, we had Keizer today, along with
Me.
Marlene, Councilor Parsons, who I'm always hitting the wrong shoulder. That was a very interesting with the Avid students. The first thing I always ask is, who can name any city councilor? and of course, you know, they all know Kathy. Oh, that's Kathy. But I thought it was kind of interesting. But very enlightening. I really enjoyed that. I also went today to the lunch to Keizer United, which was very nice to meet other people from other surrounding organizations, and everybody kind of networks together. I really enjoy that. Coming up is we have, well, there's a couple things. I'll address those later. But in general, again, thanks to the city council, mayor, and everybody for attending our event. And hopefully it's the first of more to come. And it meant, to me, it was a big step for our relationship with the community, and the Latino community, especially having a thing. And I saw the paper this morning, yesterday's paper. I saw all the pictures there. I thought it was kind of interesting. But I want to thank you guys again. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, one meeting y'all didn't go to that I did was the Keizer Chamber Board meeting, since I'm the liaison to that. That was May 9th, but, you know, it's all Iris Festival all at the time, of course, so that's kind of what was on the docket there. Then, of course, the sponsor lunch on the 17th. So great to see everybody there, and I agree with Councilor Herrera. That had to be the packest. That's a word. It was really packed, the most
No,
packed
it's not.
I've
The
seen.
English teacher says it's not.
Laura's over there cringing, Bruce. She's cringing.
That I've ever seen in the years I've been going to that luncheon. So, yeah, it was really good. Let's see, of course, was at the standing in for Commissioner Parsons at the County Commissioner breakfast on May 10th. Always good to sit down and chat with our commissioners, find out what's going on there. And then later that evening, that was an awesome event that Councilor Herrera and his colleagues put together to recognize our Latino scholars. That's really, it was wonderful to see that encouragement, and we need to do more of it. We had two folks here tonight just really shining examples of how awesome it is. And somebody made a comment earlier, just seeing the parents beaming and talking to Crystal's mom too. I mean, how cool would that be? Holy cow. That was really something else. So really, really neat event, and glad to be part of it. And then also, I shared the stage with Councilor Reed earlier today for the visit with the avid students, and I think there were some of your students there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Bring them because there was a schedule conflict, so they came with me.
But what was most impressive was two of the kids came up to me and shook my hand and introduced themselves, and I just really appreciated that. They're being taught that, and that's awesome. That's important stuff that we all need to know. So the one I was not at that y'all were at, or event, was the Iris Parade, and that's because I'm serving as president of Downtown Salem Rotary, and we are the host club for the District 5100 conference, which took place over the weekend. So kind of had my hands full there with that event. Well, I'll just say that night I was very honored to be able to introduce our keynote speaker at the banquet, which was Stacey Allison, the first American woman to summit Mount Everest. And let me tell you, if you ever get a chance to see her speak, it was truly an extraordinary experience to listen to everything that she had to say about really challenging yourself and so forth. And it was awesome. Just one upcoming thing that I'll mention it's actually tomorrow night is the McNary Area Orchestra concert that's taking place at McNary High School. And I only know it because I have an 8th grader who's going to be part of that performance. And then one thing I do want to mention, I will not be present for the June 4th meeting because I've got another concert I have to be at, and that's because it's my senior that's graduating, and that's going to be the last time I'll catch her in concert, so I am not missing that. That is all.
Rightfully
Thank
so.
you.
I understand. So I was at most of what they all were talking about, with a couple of exceptions. On May 8th was the Cafe Yum ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce, and we were happy to welcome Cafe Yum into the Keizer family of businesses. It was a very well-attended event, and people come now from all over to the events, the greeters and ribbon cuttings for the Keizer Chamber. Well done. I went to the CTEC, which is the Career Technical Education Center, signing night. So much like our athletes sign for their team, they have now initiated a special event for the students who are going to be signing to be in one of the career strands that are being offered at the CTEC Center. So they had a signing night for each of the different groups, residential construction, industrial manufacturing, drones, robotics, culinary, cosmetology, and law enforcement. And it was exciting to see the students signing, getting their hat and a certificate, and the parents there understanding that this is an incredible investment and commitment they're making toward their future. So it was a great event to be there with Senator Peter Courtney, the Superintendent Christy Perry, Julie Huckstein from Chemeketa Community College, and the folks from both the Salem Chamber and the Keizer Chamber. So it was a great event, and they called it the first annual because they're going to do it again. It was just a really great way to celebrate this decision on the part of our young adults. On the 12th, I was down at Keizer Rapids Park picking up, I've already picked up my quota of sticks, just saying. And I paid for it the next day with Tylenol. So head on down there, pick up your sticks, but get it done before Wednesday. And thank you to the volunteers who came out to help with that pickup. On the 16th, I went to the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative. The steering committee met. We got an update on the strategic plan and the additions that will be made to that plan, so we will be eligible for more federal funding to come into our region to address housing and homelessness needs of people in our community. We got a great presentation by Jimmy Jones, who's the Arches director, on the data that's being collected and the efforts that are being made to house people who are hard to house, the return on investment that we're getting from that, and also the better understanding we are getting of the vulnerabilities and the needs of people who are homeless in our community, so we can be more strategic in meeting those needs. The numbers are already extremely helpful, and I've asked that at some point we do a presentation to have Jimmy Jones to come here and talk about the work that is being done. They've already placed over 50 people who are hard to house, some of our most chronically homeless, and been able to get them into services, and they are working to get more and more people every single day off the streets and into supportive care and housing. So fabulous work being done. On the 16th, right after that, actually, I drove from one to the other. I went to the dedication of the St. Monica's home, which is over on Apple Blossom. This is one of the Father Taft homes that are sponsored by the Catholic Community Services. And if you get a chance to tour there, it is beautiful. These apartments are going to house mothers and their children. They have an on-site early Head Start program from Community Action Agency. It's a great collaboration to help these young mothers and their children get on and stay on a path to success for their families. So I want to thank the Catholic Community Services, the Spirit Mountain Community Fund, and many of the other sponsors who helped make that facility possible. And we're looking forward to those young mothers as their children grow. They want to give back to the community as well. And I said, when they're ready to volunteer, I've got ideas. So come talk to me. The next day I went to Raising the Bar. So I was not at the sponsor luncheon, and thank you for all who were there. I went to Raising the Bar, the Salem Keizer Coalition for Equality. They are doing some fabulous work with helping Latino families to support their students on a road toward graduation and career success. They are seeing significant gains in high school graduation rates, closing that gap, and more importantly, really emphasizing the feeder schools for our high schools. So the emphasis for this coming year will be all of the feeder elementary schools for North High School. And they're going to be making sure that they have services in there and outreach to parents, and then the parents are helping parents. So this isn't just, feed in and absorb. This is parents coming alongside other parents to help their students be successful. Very, very successful model that they've done for another high school feeder system, and they're going to continue that work. That night, I went to and again, I wasn't at the kickoff dinner. I'm glad you guys got to enjoy that. I was at the Marion Polk Medical Society annual meeting and awards dinner, not awards dinner, just dinner. And they are making a very strategic and very purposeful investment in the health and wellness of medical providers. That is a field that is seeing a very significant level of suicide and burnout, and they are taking very proactive steps, best practices that have been demonstrated to work to help people stay and keep on success for longevity in their careers. After you invest that much in a medical career and have somebody burn out and not be able to have a long and healthy career and still have job satisfaction and a life, they've recognized that they need to take steps to help those who help us. So great work being done there. The president of that this year is Dr. Hurley, who is also the medical advisor for Liberty House. So very impressive collaboration going on. For the Iris Festival, Pet Parade, Creekside Veterinary sponsored that again. Thank you very much. We had a great turnout of very creative costumes, from an iguana to guinea pigs to mice to a dog and her person being dressed up as pirates. It was a lot of fun, and we got to do that parade as a warm-up for the Iris Festival parade. Lemonade Day was also, and if anybody of you noticed, that there were lemonade stands all over town. And the young students got a chance to learn how to set up a business, market their business, conduct their business, and also how to manage their money. They were to give some, save some, and spend some. So I had the chance to visit with a young entrepreneur who was at Keizer Village, and I asked him what his project was. And this second grader said he wanted to help people who were homeless. And I looked at him and I said, I am very proud of you. I believe that this is a very important thing to do. And he goes, well, I've wanted to talk to the mayor about this, about some ideas. And I looked at him and I said, well, I'm glad. And so you actually are talking to the mayor, and I would like to hear your ideas. And the look on his face was priceless. Oh my gosh. So we had a wonderful conversation about how he, a second grader in one of our elementary schools, can make a real difference. And I am so proud of him for recognizing that it's important for us to help one another. So I connected him with one of our local businesses, which is a year-round sponsor of our Keizer Community Food Bank, and I know he's going to do great things. So way to go, Junior. I'm proud of you. Coming up, we have the Salem-Keizer Area Transportation Study will be meeting tomorrow. I will forward that packet to you. I'm almost done going through that, and I always try to share that with you. I'm sorry I haven't forwarded that yet. The turnaround luncheon is on the 23rd. It's like 2.5 hours, so I can't get the time off from work. I did let Edie Buchanan know that we support these students who have made tremendous strides in their lives, but getting someone to be there for the full program is not something that we're probably going to be able to do this year. On the 24th, we have the Shangri-La Food Truck Frenzy, which supports that wonderful organization that helps people with different abilities to be successful. And also the Youth Challenge, What's Next workshop is going to be held on the 24th. Follow up on the 100-day challenge for youth homelessness and housing runaway youth. So they are continuing their work. They've got some great stuff going. And Ally Trichov, who is our Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative coordinator, or program coordinator, she will be attending that and will report out. This Saturday, we have Coffee with Kathy at 10 to noon at McNary Restaurant. And I wish everybody a happy Memorial Day, and please thank the families of the folks who have served in our armed forces. That is all I got. So I'm going to turn it over then to our city manager. This time is provided under other business to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Debbie, do you have anything? Tim? Eric, I almost feel like I should ask you, but I'm not going to. No? Mr. Lawyer?
Just a couple of things. Thank you, Chris. As was mentioned earlier tonight, the replacement of Meadows Play structure will start by the contractor next week, probably middle of the week. Staff will be working this week, pulling out the chips from the playground and repurposing them around trees in the park. And so the play structure will be unusable toward the end of this week. We'll have it fenced off in the interim. Contractor moves in next week to start dismantling and installing the new one. We're excited to see that. Expect that'll probably take them till late July at this point. Hopefully we don't get any weather bursts in the middle of this that stops from putting the surfacing down. But without that, they should be done middle July and August. The other thing is on the Dearborn Bridge project, remind everybody Dearborn is once again closed. We opened it for last weekend for the parade, but it is now again closed. Contractor's actually a bit ahead of schedule, and they're working on we're working on confirming approval through the state agencies that they can start removing the existing bridge before June 1st. So if we get that approval, you may see the bridge coming out this week, which is exciting. So it's nice to know they're ahead of schedule. This job's gone really well. They got through the storm drain portion, which was difficult up near Verda, about 18 feet deep, sewer line across. They had some challenges, but they got through there safely and pretty quickly, actually. That's all done. Paving's not complete, but that won't be done for a while. But the pipe's in the ground, connected up. We have a new outlet now, so that's a nice thing to have done already. So that's all I got.
Well, I got some feedback from one of the neighbors who lives there and said that the contractor has let them in and out, from the driveway. They're one of the folks that are right on that spot, and they let me know just how pleasant they have been to work with, and they've just been doing a great job, so they wanted to pass that on to you.
Thank you. I'll share that with them too. That's nice to hear. Thank you very much.
Mr. Brown?
Just wanted to let the council know that the work on the education outreach grant is proceeding. We hope to have a workshop scheduled sometime in mid-June. I will find out more on Wednesday when I meet with our consultants. But this is, as you remember, this is the cost of growth comparison with some of our similar areas. And so we're working to get that scheduled. So stay tuned. I'll let you know.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chris. I do have an item for council tonight for kind of a question, consensus issue. You may remember at the last meeting, the issue of the Keizer Little League came up on two separate issues, one going forward with a change in the agreement, but also questions the council wanted some answers to in terms of the finances for the 2017 session. The mayor, Chris, and I met with the president and secretary treasurer of Keizer Little League last Tuesday night. It was a very productive meeting. I think they have a better handle a little bit on kind of how the format of the numbers, because I think it was a little confusing, and they're not accountants, they're not used to doing spreadsheets. And I went over some of the issues with Tim last Thursday, and Tim is going to be contacting the secretary treasurer to kind of work with a better format for that spreadsheet. The issue, though, was late this afternoon, and I apologize, I meant to print this, and I forgot before the meeting, a little after 3 today. I got an email from Lisa Buick, who was the secretary treasurer, and she just sent a quick email. I'll just read it. It says, "Hello, Shannon," because we had planned on bringing this back next meeting. As you recall, I told you we couldn't come this meeting, but would come back the first meeting in June. She says, "Hello, Shannon. I would like to know if it is possible for all of this to be added to your agenda for July rather than the June 4th date for the city council meeting. We are in prime time for the season, and all-star registration, tryouts, and tournaments are underway starting next week, and this week is planning week. I'm just unsure if I can get all of this done in time. you need it for your packet for the council, let me know if this will work. Either way, I will continue to work on this. I'll be able to call Tim tomorrow to have our conversation, as Tim and she are going to connect. And I just sent back a quick email that indicated that I talked to Chris about this, and we wanted to check with council first, since I had made a commitment to council to bring it back. So, you know, up to you folks, either no, because I warned her at last meeting that we don't really have as much time as it seems with the packet deadline, so that she and Tim are going to have to connect pretty quickly, and she's going to have to get it to us this week, so we have time to look at it, correct it, and get it in the packet by next week, which is the packet deadline. And so I just told her we would check with the council and see if that works, or if you want a second meeting in June, or if the first meeting in July is soon enough or not. So that's the issue for council.
All right, thank you. Comments? So what I would throw out there for everybody to consider, they, as I understand from the meeting that we had with Lisa Buick and Brad Arnsmeyer, is that they are working toward providing the appropriate documentation regarding the field portion of all of those dollars, and to be able to show them completely separately from the program dollars, which are Little League, you know, stuff. And it's taking a little bit of education to understand how that has to work out. Is everybody comfortable with the first meeting in July, or would you like to see it sooner? First meeting in July, by consensus. Councilor Ryan?
Is that July 2nd?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I won't be in attendance, so if we need a quorum for voting, that's what you know, I won't be here.
Okay, is anybody else going to be missing July 2nd? I'll be back from the wedding, so. All right, so we will solve quorum. So by consensus, would you please let Brad Arnsmeyer and Lisa Buick know that we would like to see that for the July 2nd meeting?
Right, will do.
All right.
And by the way, for future reference for council, this type of action is not really considered a final action, and that's why you don't need to suspend the rules for something like this, just for your information. All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And I really appreciate the work that, Tim, you're doing to help Lisa Buick with this process, so she can have clarity on how to proceed going forward. So this year's books will be a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and my take from that meeting was that a lot of this information doesn't exist in the way that we want to see it. And so they're basically trying to create a baseline moving forward, so that in the future everything is incredibly clear. They're separate. They're creating. They're enacting new accounts and separating everything now, but that just hasn't been done in the past. And so they've had a very difficult time trying to give you what you want, because the numbers just haven't been kept that way. So I think it'll be much easier going into the future than it will be this year. So, but that's all. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Written communications, I don't have anything to share this evening. Agenda input, we will meet in regular session at 7 p.m. on June 4th. June 11th, a city council work session at 5:45. I don't believe we have a topic this time. If we need to cancel, we will do so at the June 4th meeting. And June 18th at 7 p.m., we will meet in regular session. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, it is 8:24, and we are adjourned.